Hi friends, so to start off this really easy look, I went in with a cleansing oil and that hydrating cream, and now I'm using MAC lip conditioner to hydrate my lips. So the cleansing oil I used was actually the Napoleon Purtis Rebirth of Venus Skin Renewal Cleanser, and holy mother of God, it was amazing. Now I'm going in with the Designer Brands Blur Primer, and I'm applying it to the T-section of my face, so my nose and forehead and chin, and then working it outwards towards the edge of my face. So this is really going to blur any pores I have, as well as help keep all of my makeup on all day. So now I'm taking my Inglot Beauty Sponge and I'm just moistening it with some Fix Plus spray from MAC. So I'm taking this Designer Brands Liquid Illuminator on this candle holder and I'm mixing it in with my MAC Studio Fix Fluid in NW13. So I'm using that candle holder just because it's glass, which means that I can wash it in between uses and it's going to be really sanitary and I don't have to use the back of my hand. But you can do that if you want to. So I'm just taking that makeup and I'm applying it to my face with the beauty sponge, and then now I'm buffing it in by bouncing the sponge up and down. So now I'm taking my MAC Pro Longwear Concealer in NW15 and I've just pumped it onto that candle holder again and then applying it with my finger to all the places that need more coverage or a bit of highlighter. So I'm doing it under my eyes and on my eyelids because I'm going to use that as a base for my eyeshadows. So I'm going to bounce it in with my beauty sponge again so it's nice and blended in. And excuse the fact that I'm completely out of frame here, but I've just set up a monitor so I'll be able to see where I am in frame, which is exciting. So to set all of my concealer, I'm using the Models Prefer Mineral Powder Soft Touch in Photo Ready. So that's a nice, really pale pinky shade. So I've been told that these are a really good dupe for the Hourglass Ambient powders, so that's why I grabbed that one, and this is the first time I'm actually using it. And it was really nicely finely milled, but I did find that it actually picked up a lot of my dry skin and any patches where there was some texture because it is quite reflective. So the brush I'm using for this is actually the Sigma Tapered Highlighter, or the F35. I really like it for setting concealer with any powder I'm using. I do like it for highlighting as well, but it's just so good for setting concealer. So now I'm taking my Sigma F50 Dual Fiber brush and I'm using my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Light just to set all of my other liquid foundation. You can use whatever powder you like, whether it's your favourite compact or your favourite loose powder. I just prefer the Mineralized Skin Finish because it doesn't add too much coverage, but it sets it really nicely and it gives me a little bit of luminosity. So now to start on the eyes, I'm actually taking my normal contour shade with a tapered blending brush from Sigma, the E40, and I'm just putting that into my crease to start off with. It's a really great tip if you want some really simple makeup and to tie in the rest of your face is to actually use your bronzer or contour powder in your crease. So using windscreen wiper motions to blend it all in. Next I'm taking this e.l.f. eyeshadow quad in Day to Night and I'm just taking the brown shade from that with a Sigma E35, another tapered blending brush, and I'm just applying that to the outer edges of my eye. So you could use a more dense, probably smaller brush for this and achieve the same look. I just grabbed the Sigma E 35 because it's the other blending brush I have, and it gave me a really nice look in the end because it wasn't too hard to blend. So now that I've put that on both eyes, this is pretty much what it should look like. You could use any neutral brown shimmer in the outer corner that you like. I just happen to really like that one from e.l.f. So now I'm taking my MAC 252 brush and I'm actually going to apply the shade from the Makeup Geek Mani MUA palette. So this shade is Luna. So I'm just using this because this pink really suits me, but you could use any neutral colour, whether it be gold or champagne, but I absolutely love this one. So taking a dense blender brush from e.l.f., I'm taking this really light shade called Artemis from the same Mani MUA palette, and I'm just applying that to the very inner corners of my eyes and taking it slightly up onto the lid itself and just blending it in with that Luna shade. Now with the clean e.l.f. blender brush again, I'm just taking that same contour shade and applying it to the lower lid and just really lightly smoking out the bottom lashes. And I can't do my lower lids without looking like an absolute dickhead, so don't mind my mouth. So just to open up the eyes, I'm using my beauty sponge to hold down my lower lid, and I'm just applying a little bit of a nude eyeliner there. This one is actually the MAC Studio Chromographic Pencil in NC15. So for mascara, I'm using this travel sized roller lash by Benefit. I love this mascara, it adds so much curl and it just holds all day. It's so beautiful. And I also really like that it's travel sized because obviously it's great to throw in your bag whenever you're leaving somewhere, but also I feel like I'm not chucking out a huge amount of product if it goes dry or after the 3 months that you're only supposed to have your mascara for. So I actually really love it. So just putting this on the bottom lashes as well, this is what it should look like with some mascara on. Now I'm applying my BYS brow pencil. I absolutely love this pencil even though it's like $6 from the drugstore. It just really seems to have a nice ashy shade to it and it's really easy to apply. So I picked up this spoolie from a salon supply store and I'm just going to run that through my eyebrows to make them more natural. So just following the natural way your hairs grow, I just brush up and then follow the curve of my eyebrow. So now that my eyes are done, I'm going to go on with the rest of my face. So taking that same contour shade from the Anastasia Beverly Hills contour kit in light to medium and my Sigma contouring brush, I'm just going to sculpt out my cheekbones and lightly contour them, and I'm really buffing it out so it looks a little bit more natural. I'm also taking the same contour shade under my chin just to get rid of any of my double chin that I have, and I'm also sculpting out my jawline. Now on that still damp beauty sponge, I've pressed it into the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Light, and I'm just cleaning up the bottom edges of my contour. I learnt this method of application from watching other YouTubers, and it's such a great way of applying a heavier coverage of the powder. So I'll pack it on with the sponge and then I'll go back in with the dual fibre brush and wipe away any of the excess and really blend it in nicely. To apply my blush, I'm using the Real Techniques powder brush and the MAC powder blush in Melba, which is one of my all-time favourites. So using that liquid illuminator again from Designer Brands, I'm just patting it into the tops of my cheekbones with my finger to lay a base for my powder highlight. I actually applied a lot more on this cheek, but it's such a beautiful liquid illuminator that I'm not even bothered. So I'm taking the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in Lightscapade and the Clean F35 from Sigma, and I'm just putting that right on top of that cream. And also applying it to the Cupid's bow and tip of the nose. And on my lips, yet another matte product. I'm using their lip pencil in Boldly Bare to completely fill in my lips. Now to try out a new product, I'm using the Napoleon Purtis Luminous Lip Veil in Caramel Kiss, and I'm just applying that all over my lips. I've never actually really gotten into lip gloss, so this was a new thing for me. I got it gifted when I bought a lip pencil, and I actually really love it. It's so nice and nourishing on the lips, and it's a beautiful colour. And then setting everything with Fix Plus. Thanks for watching, bye!